All right, so y'all go ahead and do the factoring and the math knowledge question for today. Pause the video, and then once everyone is finished, you can unpause the video and I'll go over the correct answers. So for the factoring, we haven't had one like this, I don't think, this year. So what we're going to do is remove, replace, reduce. So if you've had me before, you should be familiar with remove, replace, reduce. So we're going to remove the 25 by multiplying it by the 36. So that'll give us x squared minus 60x plus 900. So you remove it by multiplying it by the last number. Then you factor this, and it's going to factor as x minus 30 times x minus 30. Now we're going to replace. The number that we removed was the 25. So it goes in between the parentheses and the x. And you do it on both sets. And then after you replace, you reduce. So 25 and 30 both divide by 5 to give you 5x minus 6. And same thing on this one. So you can write your answer as 5x minus 6 times 5x minus 6. Or you can just say 5x minus 6 squared. Okay, now we're going to look at the math knowledge question. Which of the following solves the equation? Well, when you have absolutes, you can either say x minus 2 equals 5, or x minus 2 had to equal negative 5. So if you solve this one, that would mean that x would equal 7, which 7 is not an option here. And if you solve this one, x would equal negative 3. Negative 3 is an option, so that's what we would pick. And if you check, negative 3 minus 2 is 5, and the absolute value of that, is negative 5, and the absolute value of that is positive 5. Okay, so now we're going to look at lesson 26 today. We're going to be looking at log form of the exponential and log equations. So hopefully after this lesson, you'll understand logarithmic is what log is short for. So most of the time people don't say logarithmic, they just say log, but that's what log is short for, logarithmic. Hopefully you'll understand how to deal with them in exponential form and how to solve the equations. So again, we use the logarithmic. We just say log. We abbreviate it. There's no need to actually say it out. But if you want to, you can. Logarithm, short for log. So this is in log form because there is a log here. It's in log form because there's a log. This equation on the right side is in exponential form because there's an exponent. And these are in the same, these are different forms of the same equation. So basically, this n stays in the same spot. And then the b comes over here and pushes the L to the exponent. So this b pushes that L up to the exponent. And that's how you go from log form to exponential form. So you'll have some homework questions that'll ask you just to write them in the other form. So right now it's in exponential form, and we want to write it in log form. So to put it in log form, the 4 is going to stay where it is, and the 3 is our base. So it's going to become log base 3 of 4 equals the exponent, which is y. And that's all you have to do. You just have to put it back into the other form. You don't have to solve it or anything for these. You just have to write it in log form. Okay, they can also ask you to put it in exponential form. So the 4 stays where it is, and then the x pushes the m to the exponent. And so that would be your answer there. Again, you don't have to solve it or anything, you just have to rewrite it. So now we're going to practice solving some equations. So when they're in log form, the first thing you want to do is put it in exponential form. So y'all try and put this one in exponential form by yourself real quick. Okay, so what you're going to do, the 8 is going to stay in the same spot, and then the b is going to come over and push the 3 up. And then we can solve this by taking the cube root of both sides of our equation. So the cube root of 8 is 2, and the cube root of b cubed is just b. So b equals 2. Okay, we're going to look at another one. y'all try and put this in exponential form by yourself. If you think you can solve it by yourself, y'all go ahead and try that. And then unpause the video and I'll go over it. So the first thing to do is put it in exponential form. So 9 should equal b to the negative 1/2. From here, we need it to be b to the 1. So the way that we're going to do that is to raise this to the negative 2. We want the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. And so we're going to do the other side to negative 2 as well. So negative 1/2 times negative 2 is just a 1. So that's what b equals. And then 9 to the negative 2 is the same thing as 1 over 9 squared. And 9 squared is 81. So b equals 1 over 81. And that would be your answer for that one. Don't give decimals for these. Make sure to leave them as fractions. If you give decimals, they are going to get marked wrong. So leave them as fractions. Let's look at another one. If y'all think that you can do this one completely by yourself, go for it. At least try and put it into exponential form by yourself. Okay, so you should have 1 over 27 equals 3 to the m. So hopefully y'all got this. Now the next step, I'm not sure if y'all got by yourself or not, and that's okay. This one's a little bit different. 27 is the same thing as 3 cubed. And the reason I want to rewrite that is because I have 3 over here as my base. And so 1 over 3 cubed is the same thing as 1 over 27. And then if I make this so that there is no fraction, I can pull this up to the top and just make the exponent negative. So 1 over 3 cubed is the same thing as 3 to the negative 3. And so that's going to equal 3 to the m. And since the bases are now both 3, they can cancel out. And that means that negative 3 is equal to m. And so that would be your answer for that one. So that's how you could work through that one. Okay, we're going to look at another one. Y'all see if you can at least put it in exponential form. And if you can go further than that, then go ahead. But try it as far as you can by yourself. So we're going to have p equals 1/3 to the negative 2. So that would be the first step. I want to make this exponent positive, so the reciprocal of 1/3 would be 3. So we're really going to have 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9. So p would equal 9. So maybe some of y'all got that right by yourself. If so, that's awesome. If not, that's okay. We're still working on these. We're just now learning them today. We're going to look at one more example. So y'all try and put this in exponential form by yourself, and then you can go further if you think you can, and then I'll go over it. So the 8, you're going to keep where it is, and then that's going to make it 4 to the x. And so some of y'all may be stumped here. What you do, you want to put 8 and 4 where they both have the same base. So 2 cubed is the same thing as 8, and 2 squared is the same thing as 4. So they're both with a base of 2 now. So on the right side, when we have a power raised to a power, we multiply those. So that's 2 to the 2 times x. Now that they both have a base of 2, the 2's can cancel out. And then that'll leave us with 3 equals 2x. And so then we can divide by 2 to make x equals 3 over 2. And so that would be your x value. So these aren't terribly difficult, but you definitely have to practice putting them into exponential form to be able to get them right. Your homework, you do get to omit number 20, so make sure that you do the rest of them tonight for homework so we can go over any questions you have tomorrow.